Okay, so with job interviews, so I'm just gonna ask your attention, for about 10 minutes or so, maybe 15 minutes. And again, if you want to write notes on pen and paper, you can. If you think you're gonna have a good memory, you can. It will require a little bit of participation from everyone here. So we know what a job interview is, right? You put your resume in, boss calls, they want to chat with you. Breathe. So there's certain things about a job interview, though. There's certain things to consider. First thing to consider is appearance. What should you wear when you go to a job interview? Nice clothes, yeah. A really common example people say for guys is wear a full suit. That's not always the answer. If I'm going for a construction job and I show up wearing a full suit, what do you think is going to happen to me? I'm going to get laughed at by someone. So, don't go in wearing sloppy clothes. Don't go in wearing your best clothes out there. Use your judgment. That's all that needs to happen is use your judgment with that. What should you wear? You should wear, nice clothes. That's a perfect answer, right? Wear nice, appropriate clothes. What about tattoos and piercings? Who here has a tattoo or a piercing? Everyone does. Tattoo or a piercing. Everyone does, right? What should you do with them usually? Cover them up or take them out, right? Now, the nice thing here is 20 years ago, if you had a tattoo, you probably you could have probably not got that job. Everyone has tattoos now. Everyone does. So those are usually as long as it's not like a big face tattoo, for example, you're usually going to be pretty okay. Some people though still don't like seeing it. So it's a good habit to get into, just covering up. You could say you have tattoos in the interview or something. Say you sometimes wear piercings. Yes. Sorry. Can you smoke? Smoke? Or oh, the phone. Sorry. Yes. I'm you can't. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I don't have the office open. You can head to the back if you are you able to go to the back, or do you need do you need my phone? Oh, use that one. We found a second phone. We have a wireless one now. Yeah. I didn't know we had it till last week. Yeah. So yeah, wear nice clothes. You can you can wear formal wear. You can wear a nice dress, a nice suit. Usually if it's an office job, that's appropriate, right? But if it's a manual labor job, a nice shirt is usually fine. Tattoos, piercings, usually want to cover them up. And remember, so yesterday we practiced, we had a stack of resumes, right? And you guys went through it. How long did you have for each of those resumes? How long do you have to make a good impression on a resume? A few seconds, right? 10, 20, 30 seconds. So your resume only has a couple seconds to get a good impression, right? So do you. When you walk into an interview, you're the interviewer sitting at a desk there, someone brings you in, you only have a couple seconds to make a good impression. Your resume has 30 seconds, you have 30 seconds. So what can you do in those 30 seconds to make them like you? Well, how do I make a good impression? You're right, that's how I can, but how do I make a good impression? What can I do to make a good impression? So you have a well-organized resume, but now you're at the interview. Sorry? Well, so now it's not the resume, now it's you. So you're walking into my office, Stephen, you're coming in for a job. How are you going to make a good impression on me if I'm trying to hire you for a job right now? Well, you're getting there. You're getting there. Polite, courteous, that's good. Respectable, yeah. Professional. We'll find out. So, being polite, huge. Your body language, really huge, right? You want to look him in the eyes. You want to say, hi, nice to meet you. Give a nice handshake, right? Don't give a very soft handshake. Give a proper handshake. Look them in the eyes, say, hi, nice to meet you. Maybe tell a joke, right? You want to be confident. You want to have good body language. We'll talk about that in a second. Smile, say hello. Perfect. You've done a good impression, right? If you walk in, staring at the floor, talking very quietly, hi, you probably already lost the job. Now, anyone know what etiquette is? It's a word used a lot in golf. It's a hard word to define. You've heard it before. Anyone have a guess what etiquette is? It's unwritten rules, right? If someone's golfing and they're about to swing, you shut up. Just trying to think of other unwritten rules here. I mean, other unwritten rules is, when, I don't know, if you get off the bus, for example, for school, you probably say like, thanks for the ride or something, right? There's no sign that says that. It's just a nice thing to do. If someone's coming up to you in a grocery store with a big cart, you probably move to the side. There's no sign that says, Austin, you need to move to the side to let this person through. It's just an etiquette. It's a thing we do. So when you have a job interview, be a couple minutes early. Treat everyone with respect, especially the receptionist or secretary, or whatever you want to call them. Because usually, every interview I've had to do, every interview my old boss had to do, the second that candidate walked out of the room, they went to the secretary. How were they? What was your impression of them? So they ask other people while you're there, even though you might only talk to one person, other people notice you're there. They're going to notice your things. You're kind of like put it on a big like act while you're there, right? You want to plan out how long it's going to take them to get there in advance. So do you guys remember when we went to Sask Poly? Do you remember parking was kind of a little bit of a pain to find, right? Google Maps said you'll get there in 2 hours. We didn't walk in that building for 2 hours and 10 minutes, right? So I had to, if this was a job interview, I would have had to figure out a plan for parking before I went, or I would have had to show up extra early and probably wait in my car for a bit, because you don't want to wait in the office for an hour early. You might just have to sit in your car, like chill outside or something, but you want to show up a couple minutes early. Yes, you know why? Because we left on time, the other guys left late. And then they had to get the bus and stuff. People had to go to the bathroom like partway through. Yes, yeah. So this is where the time investment is going to come in. When you apply for a job, you're probably going to spend like 8 hours between your resume, between preparing for the role and doing the interview. You're going to spend about 8 hours for that. So when you prepare, you want to edit your resume. A really common mistake a lot of people make is, everyone here, we're making our resume, cool. You send it out to 50 people. But, maybe I'm applying for like if I have a resume, I just have a standard resume. Maybe I'm applying for a job as a caretaker for people with special needs in a group home. My resume should probably talk about experiences I've had with people with special needs, caretaking roles that I've had. I help out, I help babysit a whole bunch of kids, for example. I help plan like lots of outings. I'm a nice, cheery person. I can, handle people. I can handle conflict well. You edit your resume for the job. You edit your cover letter for the job. If you're applying for like a really hands-on position, manual labor, you're probably going to talk about, these are all the tools I can use. This is what I'm able to do. I'm really worried about safety, stuff like that. They don't apply for every single job. Now this is the long part here. What kind of prep can you do for an interview? So how can I prepare for an interview? Any guesses? What can I do to prepare for an interview? Sorry? Be on time. That's one thing. Rehearse. That's exactly it. That's one of the words you're going to use later. Rehearse. So rehearse right there at the very, very bottom. You want to know what questions you're going to be asked, right? Doesn't it suck when, someone asks you a question and you have to answer and you're like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to say right now. Wouldn't it be nice if I could have known that question was coming? Has anyone ever had a really difficult conversation, and then the next day, maybe you're in the shower and you're like playing it down in your head again? It's like, oh, I wish I would have said this. I know I've done that. If you would have known that question, that situation, that question was coming, you probably would have said or acted completely differently, right?
Sorry.
Yeah. So you want to know what questions you're going to be asked, and you have to do a guess. You're going to have to do a guess. In some cases, you might have a couple questions, right? You might have a couple questions for that job. You're going to want to have stories that showcase your skills, right? If you put on a resume or you say in an interview, yeah, I'm funny. What make me laugh, funny boy? Tell me a joke. Tell me a story. I handle stress well. Tell me how you handle stress well, right? Again, you don't want to just tell me these are my skills. Prove to me that you have those skills, right? You want to know where to go. That was the talk Stevens mentioned there about like making sure you're arriving on time. So you research and you rehearse. And so research, rehearse, review. 3 R's. Research, rehearse, review. That's all I need. That's really all I need to take away from this. When you research the job, you want to know what to ask them, right? You want to adjust your resume to what they need. When you rehearse your answers, you're going to have a good idea. These are the types of questions I'm going to be asked. I have practiced those questions. I know what I'm going to say to them. These are the things that I'm going to say to make them want to hire me. So you'll have an answer. You'll have some example stories. So anything you say in an interview, what's the goal? Everything you say in an interview, everything you do in an interview, the way you act in an interview, what's your goal? Get the job. Yeah, right. So everything you say, everything you do is supposed to be convincing. Kim, you're hiring me for a job. Everything I do, I'm convincing you to hire me. That's the whole thing. So everything I say, I want to meet that. Did I lose the job?
No.
Yes. And then there's, of course, review, right? Make sure your resume looks good before you submit it. Make sure you have copies of certification. So like, if you're a certified forklift driver, you should probably have that. If I have CPR, you should probably have that license in case they ask. When I apply for a teacher job, I need to have my teacher certificate. And then make sure that, you just have clothing set aside that looks good. So I want to go into the questions here. And there's 4 categories of questions that you're going to be asked. Or well, just 4 categories of questions in general. So there's generic questions, standard ones. There's skill ones, there's job ones, and then there's ones that you want to ask. So for these generic ones, a standard, what's a regular interview question you think you'd get asked?
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah, right. That's a common one. What else? What? Sorry. What do you think is the first question you're going to get asked? The very you sit down. What's the first question you're going to get asked?
Why do you want the job?
Sorry.
Why do you want the job?
Why do you want the job? See, what are you doing here? Yeah, that's usually going to be the first or the second one. And there's one more. So that sometimes it is the first one, sometimes it's the second one. It's usually the top 2. The other one is, tell me about yourself. Yeah. Yeah. So those 3 types of questions, why do you want this job? Tell me about yourself. How did you hear about us? What do you know about us? Tell me about yourself. Hi, my name is Matthew. I'm from Humboldt. I've been all over Saskatchewan. I've traveled overseas for a bit. I have my master's degree. I'm really interested in like computers and technology and math, photography. Tell them about yourself, right? You're kind of restating some of your qualifications, right? That thing about the master's degree, like, I don't go up to someone in the grocery store. It's like, hi, I have this degree, but it's pretty relevant for a job interview, right? What do you know about our company? Have you done research? That's what they're gauging with that. What do you know about us? If you apply for a job at the mine, oh boy, good salary, good pension, good benefits. Oh, great job to have. What do you know about them though? They want to check. Did you go on our website? Did you spend 2 minutes on our Wikipedia page? Did you look at a YouTube video? Stuff like that. Hey, if you're applying for a mine, safety is really important. You guys have this many employees, yada, yada, stuff like that. Why do you want this job? So who are you? What do you know about us? Why do you want this job? You're gonna get asked those every single time. Every single time you go for an interview and there's more than one candidate, that's what you're getting asked. Skills questions. So remember, can you tell me about a time that you had to deal with this thing? Again, you don't want to just say, I handle stress well. Here's a time where I handled stress well. How do you handle stress? Oh my God, kids.
That wouldn't be.
No, so these are all questions that I have been asked. Tell me about a time you had to deal with conflict in the workplace. You know, if you have a coworker who's stealing, what did you do? Or what would you do? You know, tell me about someone you've had to manage. You know, I've had lots of summer students before, I've had people like me. Tell me about the time you had to deal with a rude customer. You just want to say, yeah, I can, yeah, I handle rude customers all the time. How? What did you do? What did you do if you had a rude customer yelling in your face? Tell me about a time you had a stressful situation. Common questions, right? You don't want to get caught by surprise. These are generic questions you're usually going to get asked. I'll make sure these are available too, these slides. I'll upload them right after. We're almost done. Job specific questions, okay? You've told me why you want the job. You told me what you know about the company. Now I'm going to ask you questions about this specific job. If I'm applying as an early childhood person, if I'm applying as a caretaker, if I'm applying for an office job. Sorry, kinda, yeah, that could be a good one. Yeah, or like, you know, what type of construction jobs have you worked before? You know, what equipment have you used? Absolutely, that's a good question that you get asked. If you're applying for an office job, what software have you used? Oh, I've used Excel, PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, Canva. I've used Outlook. That's your email program. Those are things you guys have used. Sure. Why are you leaving your current job? What's a bad answer to that? I got fired. That could probably not be a good one. My boss sucked. Probably not a good impression there, right? Why do you want to work here? Yeah, I never showed up. That's not going to end well, right? And you know what? If they're like, if they're looking at your resume, you're like, there's a year here where you didn't go to school, where you didn't work. They're going to ask you about that. Oh, I had a kid. Maybe you don't have a good reason. Maybe it's just, yeah, I just kind of stayed at home and played video games and did nothing. Make something up. Come up with a really positive spin on that. Yeah, I was exploring some hobbies. I was helping out family. I was taking care of someone. Something. Ta-da. And then, of course, there is your turn for questions. So when you go to a job, at the end of it, it's your turn. Do you have any questions for us? What are you probably going to ask? What are your benefits? What else? Yeah, talking about pay, that's usually a common one, right? Sometimes you do a salary negotiation, sometimes it's at the end of the interview. So like if you do a job interview and it says you're going to make $60 an hour, don't ask about it. It's on the advertisement. It's not always on the advertisement. Sometimes you can find that in your research. So maybe you could say, hey, I was doing some research on your website. I saw you had, how much a person gets for salary there. I think I'd be placed at this category and at, I don't know, this ranking or something, and I'd make this much. Is that true? Sure. What's a typical day look like with this job? What are going to be my responsibilities with this job? When can I start working with this job? The big one. What more do you need from me? Have I convinced you to hire me yet? What else can I do? What can I do to make you hire me? Maybe you're looking for someone who can really handle rude customers, and I've given you no proof I can do that. That's your opportunity to ask me, how do you deal with rude customers? Professional development opportunities. Last Wednesday, I was at CPR, professional development. That's an interview question I asked. What can I expect? They're going to give me money to go to conferences and stuff, to do training. What's the organization's biggest challenge? So I told you guys, I've gone overseas to the United Kingdom. I taught at a giant school there. They had 3 sites. So similar to how we work, where there's like one here, there's one in Punchline, one in Humboldt. They had something pretty similar, but it was all in the same town. So biggest challenge is in the morning, I'm at building A. In the afternoon, I have to go to building B. Guess who doesn't have a car or a license there? So guess who had to become really friendly with everyone to get, to bum some rides every single day?
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, right. That affects it a lot, right? It's not just, yeah, I get to stay in one classroom. No, I go from building to building, from class to class. No, it's all in one big town. So think about like something. No, it's bigger. It's about the size of Yorkton. So it's like 2 kilometers from this building to this building to this building. So this is like, so imagine you have a group of like 10-year-olds and they're supposed to just monitor themselves for 10 minutes. You have 30 10-year-olds and they're just supposed to be like, yeah, and you're going to walk in, they're going to be quiet and independently working on math. No. So, that's an important thing that I wouldn't have known about if I didn't ask. Okay, so almost done. Almost done. Let me close out of that. Close out of that. Close out of that. There we go. So you will get time to work on your resume still. That's okay, because this kind of relies on it. But for those of you who are done or who are almost done, your next task here is going to be finding a job that you would apply for. You're going to be finding a job that you're going to apply for. You're going to put that URL there, that website there. You don't need to actually apply for it, but a job that you would apply for, right? A job you think you're qualified for. I don't expect everyone here to apply for like, yeah, and I'm going to, apply for an engineering job. None of us are certified engineers, right? You're applying for a job that you think you'd actually be qualified for, that you could get the job. So how this works is there's 3 steps here, technically 4 steps. Step 1 is find a job. Done. Boom. Done. Step 2, do just a tiny bit of research for that job. We should have a resume. Just how would you adjust it? I don't want you to actually go and edit your resume for it. I just want you to say that, hey, this is a job that's dealing with caretaking. Maybe I should mention, my experiences taking care of people. Maybe I should mention that I have kids, right? You have kids, you're taking care of people. When do you need to apply by? Do you know anyone who's worked there? Do you know anyone who's worked a similar job? What questions do you have? So step 1, find a job. Step 2, do a little bit of research. Step 3, and this is always the hardest part. Remember, it sucks to get asked a question in a job interview that you did not expect coming. Because you know what? You're going, It's not going to work well, right? So here's some common questions. Tell me about yourself. What do you know about us? What do you know about the job? Why do you want the job? Why should we hire you? Tell me about a time you've been in a stressful situation. What's your goals? What are your goals, right? What were you doing before this job? Oh, I was in Carlton Trail, upgraded to my grade 12. Perfect. What's your major weakness? This is a difficult one, right? Because what you're doing here is you're taking a gun, loading it up, and you're aiming it really squarely at your foot. And you know what? You don't want to pull that trigger. So what's your major weakness? I'm not very good at organizing stuff. I have ADHD and I'm just all over the place. Here's how I deal with that. I make sure that I write my plan down every single day. I keep everything on my phone's calendar and I set lots of reminders, right? Here's a weakness. Here's how I deal with that. Don't just say, duh, I don't know. I suck at this thing. Okay, I struggle with this. This is how I'm trying to work with that, right? I'm really hard of hearing. That's a true thing. So what I need to do is I try and take notes. I ask for clarification, stuff like that. This is a weakness. This is how I try and fix that. Give an example of how you've solved the problem in the past and what's some of your strengths, right? This is your chance to brag about yourself, right? And don't just say, oh, I'm really funny. Again, you're trying to show your skills with a story or with in the interview itself. come up with 3 questions you think that that employer would ask you outside of these things. Again, if you're applying for a job that works with kids, I don't know, what would you do if you have a kid who's misbehaving? What would you do? Would you hold them down and throw them in a corner? Probably not. At least you shouldn't say that. And then what's some skills you want to demonstrate for this position? So step 1, find a job. Step 2, do some research. Step 3, that's the hardest one. Come up with some answers for those questions, right? That is you preparing for that interview. Because now, when someone asks that question, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to say for that. And then step 4 is you're doing a video project. And you're going to need to work with someone with this. Because someone has to either film and someone has to be interviewing you. So you're going to give 2 videos. One's a bad interview, one's a good interview. And you're going to have whoever's helping you, you're going to have them read 3 to 5 questions. In the first video, answer them really badly. Like do a bad interview, right? Austin, ask me to tell me about myself.
Me about yourself.
I don't know, I guess I'm in school right now and I'm looking for a job. I like to party, I like Fortnite. Yeah. Right? What you notice about like where was I looking? Down. How was I talking? Quietly, right? Now tell me. Now ask me again.
Tell me about yourself.
My name's Matthew. I have my master's degree. I'm really interested in these types of things. I heard about your job from a friend. They recommended I should apply for it. I've worked in this type of sector before. Something like that. Right? Difference. Body language is huge, right? Be confident. Don't yell at them, but look at them in the eyes. Talk well, talk strongly. So again, video 1, that you're gonna pretend to do an awful interview. So you're gonna do a really bad interview, and then you're gonna do a really good one. And you're gonna submit both of those videos, and we're gonna watch them as class. Just so you know, we're gonna watch them. Because it's always fun. We always get some really funny ones here. Okay, so step 1, find a job. Step 2, research. Step 3, answer questions. Step 4, you're going to be filming with your phone or your Chromebook, probably your phone. I'm happy to help film. You're going to do a bad interview and a good interview. Okay. So what you have to work with today is you have time to finish up your resume if you need to. Then you have time to work on this project here. And then my goal is we're not going to have any more like assignments for this class for the end of the break. Okay. Sorry? No, well, there'll be more when we come back, but I don't want to give you guys an assignment like, okay, guys, it's Friday. I'm going to give you an assignment. It's due in 2 hours. I don't want to do that. So this will be our last assignment before the Feb break. Okay. So there'll be no more assignments after this. So you have time now to work on finish up your resume, and then to work on this. I think I need to upload this actually. Let me upload that.